Welcome back to Real Talk with Brian and Dan on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm Brian.
And I am Dan.
Our next guest is Barry Neya, who is an independent appraiser and also my fishing buddy. Barry and I have had some pretty good trips. You'll have to share your favorite, Barry. Barry received his bachelor's in communications from the University of Hawaii in Manoa and has been an appraiser for over 26 years. He's here to talk today about appraisals. Welcome to the show, Barry.
Oh, thanks, fellas. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Tell us a bit about yourself and your background.
Sure. Grew up in Hawaii, lived there for about 25 years, and after college, moved to Sacramento, where I accidentally...
I'm sorry. No, Sacramento. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dan, trust me. I was
Sacramento.
too, but it took me 10 years to realize that. Yeah. But moved to Sacramento, became an appraiser by accident, and never regretted
Would you just like fall into it?
Well, not really. Worked next door to an appraisal shop or a company.
Yeah.
And, got to know them and became an appraiser that way. But I don't know anybody that grows up wanting to become an appraiser unless your family member's an appraiser. Or,
funny.
Hey, Johnny, what do you want to be when you grow up? Dad, I want to be an appraiser.
Doctor, yes.
Okay, so before we get into the appraisal stuff, so this is a show about homes.
Yeah.
So talk to us about growing up in Hawaii.
Oh, growing up in Hawaii was great. I grew up in a small little plantation community. My parents immigrated from Japan, and we grew up in this sugarcane town called Ewa, E-W-A. It's pronounced Ewa. And it was a tiny little house, and, of course, if you know the houses in Hawaii, they're not built well.
Oh.
And back then, a 910 square foot house with 3 bedrooms, I thought that was pretty big.
Really? Wow.
Yes, but little did I know. But other than that, growing up in Hawaii was fantastic. The beach, the weather, the people.
As good as you would think it is?
Oh, absolutely. But, then you discover what we call the mainland, which is here. Yeah. And then, here's reality, and things are better.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
So you mentioned you kind of didn't intentionally start. Tell us more about how you got into appraising.
Sure. After college, as I said to Dan, that I moved to Sacramento. Yes. I am sorry I moved there too. But other than that, worked in for a car company to become a manager of a rental car company, and of course was next door to an appraisal company. It's American River Appraisal Company. Got to know people there, and they later on asked me if I wanted to learn and become an appraiser, and I said, this has got to be better than what I'm doing now. And sure enough, so I did give up 2 years of that and became an appraiser that way, and I've never regretted it. So it
awesome.
was fantastic. Yeah.
So you were in Sacramento for 10 years?
Yes.
And then you moved. What brought you to the Seattle area?
Well, first, breaking up with my ex-girlfriend at that time, I decided, it's time to move on, and a friend of mine said, you should come to Washington. It's great here. And I did. And, of course, fell in love with Washington and worked in a hotel the first year that I lived here, and ended up working 3 years in a hotel. Did not like that and went back and worked as an appraiser. Loved it. And I so far haven't regretted that.
Now, if you could,
tell
us how the appraisal process works.
Sure. Okay. First off, we don't get called by the homeowner, of course.
Right.
It's usually the bank or what we call the AMC, the appraisal management company, that calls us and says, "Hey, we got an assignment for you. We want you to go ahead and appraise so and so." And of course, we as appraisers, we don't like to turn down jobs because that could be the death of us, right? We don't get to cherry pick our jobs.
Right.
And we go and we do a quick, good evaluation of what the home is worth. And of course, a lot of times we get confused as being the home inspector.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
I
A
hear that
lot
all
of
the
people
time.
think that you're the home inspector. No. And then, of course, going through the process of explaining who we are and what we do, the difference between valuing the house versus inspecting the home.
So before you head out to the home, do you do some preliminary work?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Typically, the preliminary work takes about an hour, basically trying to find the comparable sales. You want to minimize the amount of trips that you take. Try to do it in one fell swoop where you can go inspect the property, shoot your comparable sale photos, come back and type the report. Time's money. You guys know that.
Yeah.
You're brokers. So we try to do it. The better the research, the better you do a better job, if you will.
How long does it typically take for you to complete an appraisal?
On the average, with the inspection, about 4 to 6 hours.
How many are you doing typically in a week right now?
About 5 to 8. I don't try to do too many. There's a lot of appraisers that do a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And some people are really good at doing that, but boy, that's a lot of stress.
That's
Yeah.
full time. That's
That
busy.
is.
Yeah.
So with regards to, I think a lot of times people are, Brian and I often will do a valuation and a market, what is it? Why can't I say
Market
it?
analysis.
Thank you, market analysis. And how would you say an appraisal has different goals than a market analysis?
Well, first off, like you guys are pretty good at what you do, and you guys value-wise are pretty close. If it's something like Zillow or Trulia, their algorithms are not really that good, and a lot of people swear by them, and you can't really.
Some people swear at them.
Yeah, a lot of.
Well, that's why it's Zest, but not as appraisal.
Exactly. And I always say, hey, why don't you take that valuation and see if you can get a loan with that, right?
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck,
Yeah.
right? But yes, typically, we're just a little bit more detailed than you guys, and
Right.
you guys are right on. A lot of times it's the market that and you guys
Yeah.
do your CMAs and your
One of the things I've been
Opinions.
told is a market analysis. I'm looking into the future to anticipate how much I can help the seller get for the home. An appraisal is a look in the rearview mirror. What have other homes like this one sold for? A historical view to establish value.
that is correct, because typically we're using historical data, comps from the
Right.
last 3 to 6 months. So yes, absolutely.
And I think that it's important for the listeners to know that it's almost like an open conversation, whereas you have some guidelines that you have to follow when you're comparing something. One that actually really surprised me, and I didn't know this, but this is what I love about real estate, is above threshold square footage and below threshold square footage. They're valued differently.
It's funny that you brought that up. A friend of mine just this morning brought that up to me, who just refinanced his house and said, I've got a house, and he does have a basement. In fact, he has 2 finished basements, and the total square footage is about 37 or 3,900 square feet. And when he got the appraisal back, it didn't include, of course, the finished basement. Like, Dan, as you said, it's valued separately, and at a different area.
In a different location, yeah.
Exactly. So I said that I'll explain that to you later on. But that is a very common thing that people,
Right.
don't understand.
Yeah,
Right.
and here's where we ran into trouble is it was a flipper who changed from 2 bedrooms up and 2 bedrooms down to 3 bedrooms down and 1 bedroom up. And it affected the value
It
of the
does.
final product
Right.
because of the bedrooms being downstairs below grade.
That is correct. Yes, because we typically we have to bracket every bit of our our sales comparison analysis. We'll have to find a 1-bedroom comparable because it's that 1 bedroom that is located above grade.
Right.
So we have to find a comp or comparable sale that is a 1-bedroom above grade, similar to what you said.
Right.
Yes.
So I've heard the term here. Go ahead.
Oh, you had it.
Licensed or certified appraiser. Is there a difference? What's the story?
Yeah, a license typically requires less educational hours and less experience hours. However, you can only appraise up to $1 million or less. And here in the market in Seattle, good luck
For a licensed.
for license.
Yeah.
Right. As certified, you can appraise anything, unlimited.
And you are?
I am certified.
Nice.
Certifiable.
No.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. Yeah.
So certified requires extra education. What qualifies somebody in that?
Yeah, extra education. We're looking at. I did write this down because I can't remember a lot of stuff here. So, 200 hours of educational time and 2,500 hours of experience.
Of
Oh,
work
wow.
experience.
Yes, versus a license 150 and 2,000 hours. So, but you got a higher threshold.
What areas do you cover in Washington?
Typically, I don't go as far as I used to go 10, 15 years ago, and I mainly stay up in King County and parts of Snohomish County. Other than that, I don't go that far.
2 counties. Okay.
Yeah, that's plenty.
And most appraisers work for themselves or a company?
They work for themselves. Most of them are independent. A lot of appraisers do not want to cough up 40% of their fees to go and work for someone else.
Right.
You know?
Don't new appraisers have to work under someone kind of like a broker?
Yeah, they would have to work for someone for a little bit until they gain their experience. But actually, once you're licensed, you can typically go out and work for yourself.
Okay.
But you got to get the clients first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where and who are the clients? The what did you call them?
AMCs are the appraisal management companies, and unlike you guys have to go and farm a lot of areas, and once you close and sell a house, you're basically going back and
Getting a
farming.
new customer.
Starting over.
Yes, yes.
Every time I do a good job, I get fired.
That is true in a way, right? Yeah, but we don't have to do that. Luckily, the work comes to us once you're signed up and you get approved with, certain AMCs or appraisal management companies. So I like that aspect of it, where I'm not chasing the work like you guys are.
Yeah.
No offense to you guys. And,
None taken.
No.
Yeah,
Couldn't
yeah.
do our job without you.
Yeah.
So where do you see the market? What's happening?
I see it slowing down right now, and you guys would know better than me. But at this point, just by doing a lot of purchases, I see a lot of, values that are coming in at list or below list. I don't see any multiple offers, and you guys are probably seeing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
this
you've
is price
been
right
26 years in the business. What do you think this cycle is that we're in?
now. For me, I'm thinking we're going to probably head toward a recession. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Maybe after the election, but it's just a guess, like
Okay.
anybody else.
Okay.
And I don't know. What
Always
do you guys
goes
think?
up and down.
What do you think? Well, I think I feel like we have lead measures as real estate agents. You're somewhat of a lag measure as an appraiser, because we're out there projecting where we expect the home to sell in the future,
Right.
Right.
and then you're validating. So, are you seeing purchase contracts be reduced, or are you seeing an equal balance of purchase and refi contracts? Because you do appraisals on both, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I do see a lot more refinances right now.
Okay.
And
part of that is the boom in the refi,
correct.
and
Yeah.
the other part is season, right?
Right.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And the rates are really good right now. So, you'll see a lot more refinancing right now. Other than that, the work is still good. It's plentiful, and I can't complain.
Before we get into the next question, give me your craziest story of an appraisal.
Oh, sure. One of them is, I remember this was over in Cle Elum when I used to go that far. Going into a house and appraising it, as I was in the house, I noticed a lot of photos of this one girl who was naked in every photo shot. And I kept looking, oh my God, this is kind of odd. And I looked at the photo and I looked at the homeowner, and guess what? It was the same person.
Oh no.
Yes. So even in the bedroom, every shot, whether it was on a rock near the river, it was her naked. So that was pretty.
That's kind of uncomfortable
Yeah.
because she was there in the house too.
She was there, and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
she kind of had a big old grin, and which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah,
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, that was exciting. Somewhat.
Oh well. Oh. Hey, do you recommend the next generation get into appraising?
I do. We have a shortage of appraisers here.
Was that right?
Well, I think so. And in the state of Washington, and unlike brokers, you guys, boy, how many brokers come in every year,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yes. I mean, the requirements are a lot more lax now. I don't think that you need a 4-year degree anymore. So a lot of people can come in and, as long as they can get trained by an appraiser and an appraiser is willing to take them under their wings, then, you got to.
So then, when you look at stuff like, how do you, what skill sets you would want to have to get into it? What's the key that stands out?
Skill set, just be open-minded about things. Learn to listen. Listen to the homeowner. Listen to what they have to say. Do your research on hand. That's always the most important thing. And, of course, be sociable,
Okay.
kind of like what Jenny said.
Awesome. So how can people get in contact with you?
They can email me at btnappraisals@gmail.com, or they can call me directly, 206-979-9881.
Barry, thank you so much for coming in today. You are listening to Real Talk with Brian and Dan on 1150 KKNW.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. After the break, we will have some more Real Talk and, of course, a final thought of some kind, whether it's mine or Brian. Come on back right after this short break.
Did you know when you pay rent, you're actually paying someone else's mortgage? Are you tired of missing out on owning your own home? Fact: homeowners on average have 40 times the financial net worth of renters. The Eastside Real Estate Team has been helping many first-time home buyers find and buy their first home. They specialize in customer service and put you first. They listen first to what you're looking for, and then they take the time to make sure their clients understand every aspect of the home buying process. If owning a home has been your dream, the Eastside Real Estate Team can help you. For a free, no-hassle consultation, call 425-200-4093 or find them online at the eastsiderealestateteam.com, a subsidiary of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue.
Tired of the same old conversations at networking events that never lead to new clients? BNI is changing the way the world does business by connecting you to strategic relationships that can help you grow your business. BNI is the world's largest networking organization, helping hundreds of thousands of members around the world each year increase revenue through relationship marketing. For information about visiting a BNI chapter near you, go to the BNI Northwest website at bninw.com.
Tell your friends about Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Real Talk on 1150 AM KKNW. Now, we are now headed into our final thoughts for the week. Brian, what do you have for us?
I was going to talk a little bit more about the for sale by owner, just to throw a idea out there that something that Dan and I have done for years. If a person is thinking of selling themselves, we'll do a free consultation, walk you through the process, provide forms, and basically, tell you all our secrets about how we sell homes to assist you. And the way we think of it is we're happy to do that. It's kind of a job interview. If you try it yourself and decide it's not working, you want to list, then you know us, and we hope that you would think of us for representing you.
And the interesting thing about along those lines is I've received phone calls from people that said, hey, I'm thinking about getting into the real estate business, Mm-hmm. And during our last segment, Barry was mentioning, getting into appraisals and stuff like that. And I have to say that I love this industry. I really do. And I welcome anybody, even a homeowner who says, hey, you know what? I can do this. Because quite honestly, I understand where they're coming from. Like I said, I did it myself. And I think that there are times where I know what I'm good at and what comes naturally to me. And then when I try and shift and do something I'm not good at, like let's say if honestly, if you asked me to be an appraiser, I'd say no, thank you, right? Because I have to sit down and be very, detail-oriented with regards to numbers and calculations. And for us, Ryan, we price homes. We do a lot of the similar market analysis. But there's a nuance. There's a marketing nuance.
Right.
And I love marketing. So that's where I like to spend my time. And I'm happy to, like Brian said, share all of our secrets. Like, here's how it gets done.
Here's what we do.
And some sellers may decide that's the right way for them, and others may see the wisdom in hiring somebody that's a specialist in it.
The other thing, too, is in helping a seller, we view it as relationship building, if not helping on this transaction, perhaps in next. But also, many of these sellers are buying a home, and we're delighted to represent them as buyers in the purchase. So it is a win for everybody, and that's what we're about, is making this, we're very relationship-driven, making it a win for everybody concerned.
So Bumper Shoot was this last weekend. I hope people got out and enjoyed the wonderful weekend. I was out of town, but this coming weekend on Friday, there's this fun thing at the Woodland Park Zoo called Wild Bites. All right, so eating
Wild
food
Bites.
and watching animals sounds fun, right? So delectable bites, craft cocktails, okay, and exciting animal encounter awaits. Experience the zoo after hours while enjoying a delicious cuisine and cocktails prepared by some of Seattle's hottest celebrity chefs and mixologists. This brand new adults-only event is inspired by their mission to save species. Each ticket sold raises funds to help save wildlife in the Pacific Northwest and around the world. Tickets are available. So Google Wild Bites, Woodland Park Zoo. That might be a fun thing to do on a Friday night.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So that concludes our show for this week. I want to especially thank our guests, Jenny and Barry, for taking the time to come in today and to speak with us. It was a great show. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back for another great show next week. Until next time.
Until next time. Yeah, we should have something there.
We should have something.
Next time, this.
Yeah, give us a call.
Give us a call.
your ideas.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, y'all.